Okay, we want to learn how to draw our keepsake box that we've been making in Tech Mandatory in 3D, because if we can draw it in 3D like this on this screen here, then we can easily generate 2D drawings, which we've been learning about and doing by hand, which are, as we know, called orthographic drawings. And those orthographic drawings look something like this. So if we can draw a model in 3D, we can then generate or draw using a computer these orthographic drawings really easy, and we can get accurate dimensions on them. So let's go and see how we will draw this 3D shape in OnShape. So I'll start a new document. So we go create, new document. We'll call it Keepsake Box 2. And we'll say create. Now OnShape's a 3D modeling software program online. So it's on the cloud, so it automatically saves. Now the first thing we have to do is draw a new plane in. If you don't see new plane, click on the drop down arrow and select plane. I'll explain why we do this later, but right now just put the plane in. So it says here we're going to create a plane 1. Offset plane requires a plane to offset from. Well, we're going to offset from the front plane, and instead of coming this way with our plane, we're going back this way. So move that plane with the arrow back that way and type in here 48 millimeters or 48 and press tick. So we've got two planes there, and I'll explain that later. Righto, we're going to start with a sketch. We always start with a 2D sketch in OnShape, and then we extrude it to make a 3D object. So here's our 2D sketch. We're going to draw on the front plane. So we click on the front plane. Now remember, Shift 1 is the view for the front. Shift 2 is a view for the back, 3 for the right, 4 for the left, Shift 5 is for the top, Shift 6 is for the bottom, and Shift 7 is back to isometric. So if we use Shift 1, or we click on this little cube here on the front, we're now looking directly at our front plane. We're going to draw a center point rectangle. So make sure it's this one. The shortcut is R on your keyboard. Okay, so we hover over the middle here until we see that little T-looking shape down the bottom. That says we're right on the intersection of the planes. We click once, we move, we click again, and then we type. So we click, move, click, type. So type 200, enter, then type 75, enter. So we've now drawn our side, but we've got to put some joints on there. So we use box joints. So we're staying on center point rectangle. When we hover over a line, if a square comes up like that, it says that that's the center point of that line. So we're going to click there, and we're going to draw a rectangle about that shape. And we're going to type 24, enter, 35, enter. So now we've got a 35 by 24 rectangle. We're going to do the same over this side. So hover over till you get the square, click, move, click, type 24, enter, 35, enter. Now, if you get red things come up like that, don't stress. Click on one of them and press delete on your keyboard and they'll disappear. All right, so we now just have to use the trim tool to take some of these lines away. Now you can actually draw the lines, so you can click and drag a line on the things you want to delete. We just want to delete all those lines so we see this shape. Once you've done that, we can now finish the sketch by ticking. We've drawn a side. I'm going to use Shift 7 to come back to my isometric view. Now we're going to make that sketch a 2D sketch into a 3D shape by using extrude, and we click on the shape, and it already says, do you want to go this way? Yes, I do want to go that way, but I don't want to go 25 millimeters. I want to go 12 millimeters. I want it to be a new 12 millimeter part. I press tick. And that is our first shape. So we've got our side made. Now, to do this an easy way, what we're going to do is we're going to mirror that part, and this is why we put the original plane in. So we're going to select this part, Now over here it says red, it's mirror plane in red because it says you need to click on me. So I click on it and now I select the plane that I want to mirror from. And this one is going to be the new plane we put in. Okay, and all we have to do is tick new, leave it on new and tick because we've created a new part. So tick. So now we've got two sides of our box done very quickly. All right, we're going to go to the right view and we're going to draw a new sketch. And this time we're going to draw a sketch right on the end of this side. So we click on that side or face of extrude. This time we're going to use a corner rectangle. So corner rectangle, we're going to hover over the corner until we see that T shape again. Then that says we're right on the intersection. Then we're going to hover over down here until we see the T shape. And we're going to click. And we've just drawn a rectangle perfectly around our two sides. And that should be 120 millimeters if we've done it correctly. Okay, we now need to draw some lines. And this is where we can just hover over the existing lines. So we use the line tool here, or L on your keyboard. We click once, we come down and click again. Then we go over here and we click again. So now we can press escape on the keyboard if you want to stop drawing lines. So escape will stop you drawing lines, or you can click over here. So you can click line again now and start down here, click, and we go up, and we go click, and we go across, and we go click. Now we've got to do that on the other side as well. So cancel the line or press L on your keyboard. We're going across on this one. We're copying basically the end of the sides that we've drawn. So L on the keyboard, click, click, click. Okay, now we just need to use the trim tool again. So we use the trim tool again. This time we're going to trim out the corners. So we're trimming out these corners. And you'll see in a minute why. Okay, finish your sketch, tick. Shift 7, so we can see what we're looking at here. We've drawn that sketch, which is awesome. So now we just extrude it. Ready? Extrude. This time we want to go back the other way, so we can drag the arrow back. And here we want to extrude at 12 millimeters. Now this one wants to be a new piece as well, so make sure it's new and make sure we're always on solid. Sometimes you might go on surface if you've done something wrong. Okay, finish that one. So that should be right there now. Tick. And I've got an end made. I've got my two sides made, but I need one more end. And so what we're going to do is do the same process we did before, which is we're going to mirror a part. So if we go mirror and we click on that part, then we click over here where it's red and say, yes, I'm ready to select my mirror plane. This time we're selecting this mirror plane and voila, tick, we've now made our box. Now the simplest part here is to draw a base. So we go to the bottom view, we draw a new sketch on the surface of our box. We use a corner rectangle from corner to corner and we press tick because we've drawn our sketch. Now this one, sometimes you won't see all of the things you want, but watch this, extrude, and I go back to my sketch here and say, yes, that's what I want to extrude. And if you don't know what's going on, we can go to Shift 7 so you can see what's sort of happening here. I'm trying to extrude the base, but I only need this base at 6 millimeters. So we do that, we say it's a new part, and we tick, and that is now our finished box. So 3D box. The next video I'll show you how to do a 2D orthographic drawings of this quite easily.